Greetings everyone, I hope you're all doing well. Today I'm going to read to you a few excerpts from this amazing book I've been reading by Dr. David Hawkins. It's called The Map of Consciousness Explained. Basically, the author was born in 1927. He died in 2012, but he wrote many books on his spiritual experiences, and some of which I think will help you quite a lot. So, yeah, he grew up during the Great Depression, and and his family were religious. But he, even from the age of 3, he remembered sitting in a little wagon where he had a stunning awareness of existence. Reflecting on that moment from childhood, he told a group of us, it was as if there had been total darkness, oblivion, and then suddenly great cleave lights came on. I saw that I was back in a body and I was not happy. And he goes on to explain how he'd been a devout Buddhist in his past life, and followed the pathway into what Buddhists know as nothingness. Basically, it's transcending all your fears and worries in the world, and just through meditation becoming one with everything, being at peace. And so he goes on to have a pretty hard childhood, but he starts off his job being I think a new newspaper carrier, whatever they did. So he had to travel vast distances on his bicycle. I think he got caught out in a winter storm, and had to punch his way into a snowbank. Sorry, and he was not had his like all his newspapers had fallen out, and it was freezing cold. It was in the middle of a blizzard, a snowstorm. So he wasn't having the greatest time. But he describes this serene experience that came over him. No sooner had he burrowed into the snowbank than he melted into the infinite presence of love. The experience was so unforgettable that 70 years later, when I asked him to describe that state of infinite love, he didn't miss a beat. All negative emotion, fear, impatience, frustration disappeared. Instead, there was only the radiance of infinite, timeless, everlasting, all-encompassing love, which is not different than the reality of what I was, what I am. Compared to this infinite love, the god of religion now seemed irrelevant to the young David. And so he naturally became an atheist, and then became more spiritual on his path. And it goes on to say the crisis accumulated in 1965 when before that he went on to have a career. He served in World War II. He became a leading psychologist, doctor. He was a very successful man. He would be what we would term a genius. Yeah. And so anyway, in 1965, when he was 38, he was at the point of death due to a progressive and fatal illness. All his efforts to pursue the truth of existence via the intellect had failed, and he found himself in a state of extreme anguish and despair. Just before he was about to die, the thought flashed through his mind, what if there is a God? And with that he called out a prayer. If there is a God, I ask him to help me now, and he surrendered totally to whatever God there might be, not expecting much. Immediately he went into oblivion. It took him 30 years to recount the earth-shattering aftermath. The oblivion suddenly disappeared and was replaced by the stunning splendor of the light of divinity that shone forth as the radiance and essence of allness. His consciousness had been completely and suddenly transfigured. The mind and its mental patterns were gone forever, replaced by the presence, an infinite, all-encompassing awareness which is radiant, complete, total, still, and silent. A peaceful inner silence prevailed, as there were no images, concepts, or thoughts. In fact, there was no person left to think. All separateness between him and others dissolved, and he saw the same beautiful, timeless perfection in everyone around them. A radiance shines forth from everyone's face. Everyone is equally beautiful. In the state of non-duality, each and every living being is aware of each other, and all beings are interconnected and in communication and harmony by means of awareness and by sharing the basic quality of the essence of existence itself. Nothing is better or worse, higher or lower than anything else. No one is superior or inferior to anyone else. All sentient beings are equal. All beings are intrinsically holy in the divinity of their creation. So this is where his spiritual evolutions really starts to take off. Began in 1965, and he, from then on, for the rest of his life, he became a very knowledgeable fellow and who studied, well versed in the study of consciousness. So during this, during his near-death experience, his whole purpose, his whole view on life changed, and to one of love. Where there had been anger and frustration, that was replaced by just unconditional love and peace. And he saw oneself behind every person, every animal, every being in existence. Behind them he saw the one source creator, the one consciousness behind that lives within each and every one of us. And when he looked into the eyes of others, he saw only the one self. There isn't any separate you there and me here. The blissfulness and self-completion made it difficult to summon interest in normal functioning. The old motivations of income and success were irrelevant. The only motivation strong enough to pull him back into the body and the world of form, he said, was love. Love becomes the sole motivator of the continuance of physical existence. Each time it is extremely difficult to come back into the body, you feel homesick, like one has left one's home for some kind of task one has agreed to. Whenever I go into that state, there is no form. One just dissolves into infinite golden love. It is so exquisite that it makes one cry to have to come back into the body again. The only reason you can leave it is because you know that there is forever and that you will return forever. So that was the amazing experience that he discovered, and I believe each and every one of us are looking for that higher state of consciousness. That's why people take drugs. That's why people take alcohol. We're trying to eradicate the clouds of lower emotions and reach the state of bliss, of love, and of happiness. But the fact is, drugs and alcohol, they come with their own side effects, but they aren't the answer. The real answer is what's inside of you. You can access that infinite field of love and kindness and compassion and joy and bliss and inner peace, where you're not angry at anyone, you're not hateful towards anyone, you just view everyone and everything with love. And this is what he's describing. So just indeed what David Hawkins said was that what he teaches is not different from the core principles of the world's religions: unconditional love, compassion, humility, and kindness for all beings. Make a gift of your life and lift all mankind by being kind, considerate, forgiving, and compassionate at all times, in all places, and under all conditions, with everyone. This includes all living beings, as well as yourself. That is the greatest gift anyone can give. And just hold on as I skip a few pages. Sorry if the phone's a bit squonk while I do this. Okay. We change the world not by what we say or do, but as a consequence of what we become. Dr. Hawkins affirms that even the tiniest increase in our own consciousness benefits the world at large. Love is so powerful, he says, that one loving thought in a day cancels out all the negative ones. If you notice a stray cat walking across the street and you send it love and hope for its existence, his or her existence, that undoes the cursing you did all morning at your mother-in-law or teacher or whomever you were mad at. And that's true. That's how powerful we are. And you imagine if all people, instead of, and I'm guilty of this too, but instead of wasting our time complaining and cursing at the world, the state of the world, what about we just sent out loving thoughts of kindness and compassion and respect to animals, to the people around us, to our families, our friends, strangers, even our own worst enemies, and to all animals, whether it's a cat, in the garden, dog or cat, a cow, or a lion, an elephant, a whale, all living beings. If we spent time focusing and sending love towards the problems of this world and towards all the beings in need of love, in need of help, imagine that's how powerful we are. That cancels out all the negative thinking and fears that we'd thought only moments before, and that immediately sends, it's a ripple effect. It sends, that love goes to that being in need, and the more of us do that, the more powerful that ripple becomes. So basically we have the power to end war, to end corruption, to end all the abuse and nonsense in the world, just by sending our highest aspirations, our love, our visualizations for a better world to the situation. That's how we change everything for the better, and that's how we help those in need. That's how we help animals and people who are struggling. And the planet is full of people trying to change the world, but doing so only at the level of symptom, not source. This kind of force creates counterforce, and we end up with gridlock rather than greatness. Greatness comes from within. As I was saying before, you don't need alcohol or drugs. Everything you need to make you happy is within you already. It is the courage to change oneself. The message of this book is vital for our society. As we change, the world is changed. There. So, as I was saying, the more of us send love towards one another and towards all living beings and to the world, the more of us send love to, for instance, the war in Iran, the Israel-Palestine crisis, Ukraine, etc., Sudan, with the Congo, etc., the more those problems will be resolved, and the more we can help the people and beings in those countries who need help. And if we are motivated by love, if love was what moves us, then everything we touch and everywhere we go and everyone we meet will be made better because of what we have become as a loving person. Love is a silent power that inspires, heals, uplifts, encourages, and improves everything. And because love is a radiation within the interconnected energy of the universe, which is non-local and non-linear, we make an impact wherever we are, no matter what we're doing. To love any single piece of life is to love all life, and to love God, for everything is interconnected. And there you go. So we are all part of God. We're all part of Source Creator. We're not separate from God. God is within us. God is within me, as He is within you, all of you who are watching this video. And God is within every living being. Lions, elephants, whales, every animal, every tree. God's in this tree behind me, sorry. God's in the trees, the plants, the oceans, the rivers, the streams, the rocks, the planet, our planet herself. God is Earth, the Earth. God is the galaxy. God, our galaxy. Well, all galaxies. God is the universe. And we don't know how powerful we are. We really don't. If we did, we would not waste time complaining about the state of things. In fact, we would be sending love out to all those who needed it. We'd be sending love out to all beings we saw and all people we saw and encountered throughout our day. And that's what I want us to do. Any problem in your life, send love to it. Any problem, all the suffering you see in the world, whether of animals and people, send love to them all. Spend as long as you want doing this. But be aware that your sending love out to these people, your actions have very real effects. Sending love out to beings and people in need is the most powerful thing you can do. Believe me, you might not see it, but it helps and it works. And the more about you who do this, the more about that's how we change our world. That's how our world goes from being negative and hateful and cruel to being loving, kind, compassionate, where, people coming together in unity, people putting aside differences, people forgiving the past, whatever went on hundreds of years ago, people letting that go, people forgiving one another, and the world becoming heaven on earth. And that is the evolution of consciousness. And once we realize that we are part of God, we're part of Source Creator Consciousness, we realize that we're all one. There's no difference, despite what we may look like on the outside. We're all part of Source Creator Consciousness, and that by embodying love, by coming to this realization, we are on our way to reaching the levels of famous avatars and of light, the famous great teachers like Yeshua, Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary, Buddha, Krishna, Kuan Yin, all the famous masters throughout history, all the famous teachers throughout history. And so go out into the world and send love where you can, because it has a difference. It makes a huge difference. It makes more difference than any physical action would. And that's why I always talk about this revolution of consciousness. If we want to get rid of a corrupt government and power, really, as much as chaotic as it would be, bullets and guns wouldn't do much. No, it would just be more bloodshed. It would not solve the core problem at the center of the issue. But with people coming together in a revolution of consciousness, people coming together in unity, people put aside their differences. People are kind and compassionate and respectful and loving. People actually start sending love to one another and to all beings, and to even their worst enemy. Hence the situation. People coming forward, making a plan. That is how we dismantle corrupt regimes. And God bless you, and have a good night, or good day, or wherever you are in the world. And I wish you all the best.